Welcome to Builder Buzz by Home Nation, where we bring in builders, developers, and everyday investors to talk about one of America's biggest opportunities, affordable housing. We'll talk about real costs, explosive growth, big mistakes, and tough lessons you won't learn anywhere else. Whether you're building homes, buying land, or just building big ideas, this podcast is for you.
Hello everybody, my guest today is Andrew McGilly. He is starting a program, this new company called Prime Logic, and what it does is it gives you prices for painting your home using AI before you've ever talked to a contractor. So think of it like Uber. When you get an Uber, you go ahead and say, I want to go from point A to point B, and it says, here's the price. And you say, enter. All right, I want to do it. On the other end, there's an Uber driver who then their phone pings, and they see, oh, all right, this person wants to go from point A to point B. I accept the job. You know what the price is before you ever even get into the Uber. Same way with Prime Logic. You're going to say, I have this home that I need to have painted. It's going to say, here's the price. You say, yep, I want to do it. On the other end, ping, there goes someone's phone, a contractor. They see this is a job, they accept it. And so you know the price for that job before the contractor ever even shows up. I don't want to spoil any more. This is a very interesting one. It's a new concept. And Andrew believes that this is going to be the future of how jobs are quoted. Thanks for listening.
All right, cool. All right, so my name is Andrew McGilly. I'm with Prime Logic, and we are America's, or quite possibly the world's first automated end-to-end Uber for painting. So if you think about getting and ordering, or not ordering an Uber per se, but if you think about how Uber works, you go onto your app, but in our case, it's a platform. You order, a car shows up, you get in the car, and they take you where you want to be. Well, Prime Logic is essentially the same thing. You go onto our app, you put in some, not our app, our webpage, and you talk to a chatbot. It'll ask you a series of questions about your home, what you're looking to get painted. Currently, we're just working on exteriors, but shortly we'll be moving into interiors and hopefully other verticals as well. So essentially, you go on there, it'll ask you several questions, you answer it. It'll give you an instant good, better, best quote. Then it will ask you for the colors, to pick a date. It'll automatically link you up with a non-paid subcontractor. So it's not a platform. It's a vetted subcontractor within our network. You pick the date. The paints will be delivered to your home it's a Sherwin-Williams product, of course. It'll be delivered to your home a couple of days before the project begins. And then the contractor will show up, paint your home. When the contractor indicates that the job is finished, you'll automatically get an email to walk around the home with the customer. To walk around with the contractor, and then you will decide that it's painted to your specs. If it's not, they'll be able to adjust it and fix it on the spot. And then when you say that it's finished, you'll get a payment link for the final payment. God bless you.
Thank you. So I love this concept, and I imagine this is relatively new. Right? AI is only the past couple of years. What made you decide to start this?
So I realized that a couple of things. One, the only reason why I don't get jobs is because my price is too high. So I tried to figure out, well, how can I do that? And the only way that I could lower the cost for a homeowner is if I'm not there, if it doesn't take up my time. So I thought, well, there's probably there's got to be a way that can take me out of it. It's very simple. And actually, by creating this, it actually solves many customer pain points. So, for example, if you're looking to get your home painted, you're probably going to call 3 people or three companies. 3 companies will come out probably over the course of a couple of weeks because everybody has different schedules. They'll take up time with you and whatever other decision makers may be in your household. So you're probably looking at 3 hours of time over the course of a couple of weeks, and then you have to sit down and decide which painter you're going to go with. So what we decided to do is remove all of that from it, make it completely transparent. So when we offer our estimates, those better best estimates, the only difference in the price for that is the price of the paint that we pay. So if you're going from super paint to emeralds, there's about a $15 difference in price per gallon. That's the only cost that incurs. Everything else is completely the same because it's the same prep, it's the same crew, it's the same amount of time to paint your house. So everything remains the same. The only difference is the price of the cost. So there's no markup there whatsoever.
So, all right, maybe I missed it. How do you calculate what the cost is? I mean, do you have to factor into how many doorways, how many windows, how many hallways, vaulted ceilings?
When we get to interiors, that's
we're exterior only for now.
So currently we're just doing exteriors. So exterior is just basically the substrate that we're working on. So if we're working on stucco or aluminum or hardy board, how many stories it is. Windows don't necessarily play too much of a
Mm-hmm.
factor. How many colors it's going to be if you're going from light to dark. We prime all the homes,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really make too much of a difference because it's always going to be two coats anyway.
Wow. So the customer comes on, they say, I've got this size house. Do they have to send any photos in of it? Or they just put it in
Uh,
square footage?
at the moment, no. So what we're doing is as we're building our AI component, we're taking pictures from the field and then we're uploading that information into PIM1, which is one of our databases that we're using to develop
Yeah.
the AI further.
So it's a contact. They're reaching out. I want to quote for this. Ping, you get a thing with details. Well, not even really. It automatically gives them what the price is.
Just go onto the website, fill out some information, talk to a chatbot, and then it'll walk them through the entire steps of what they need to do. They can choose the date, the time. And like I said, on the back end, we have vetted contractors that we have their license, we have their specialties, what they can do and what they can't do. And we also have their insurance information, workman's comp and general liability.
So you said you decided to do this because you're like, man, if I'm not winning bids, it's because my price is too high, and the only way to bring down my price is to not be at the job physically.
Yep, and not be involved.
Have you found success with this?
Yeah, so right now I live in a gated community here in Southwest Florida. So I've actually launched it within my gated community just so I can get valuable feedback from essentially my neighbors, which is 685 homes, but it seems to be working well.
A lot of neighbors. So how are you? I'm curious. How are you writing the code? Are you the one manually doing all that? Do you have someone else?
No, I have a team of developers.
That's no small feat to have a team of developers from the ground up making this product.
No, it's not. It's a lot of work and a lot of headaches, but it'll be worth it in the end.
But so I'm thinking this is a company that, like, why wouldn't Angie's List do something like this? Why wouldn't Thumbtack do something like this?
I don't know.
It's just
they're a marketplace, so they rely on painting companies to pay them for leads. So all there is a marketplace. We're actually just a new way. So they're like, imagine if Uber was a marketplace and you said, hey, I need a ride to so-and-so, they would send it out to 5 taxi companies and 5 taxi companies would respond. Well, that's what they do. What we're doing is we're creating a whole different category like Uber, a whole different way to approach business. So we're taking all these fragmented companies. And in Florida, I believe there's something like 19,000 registered painting companies. And there are only, and ironically, there are, I think there's about half the amount of registered plumbing companies. But if you drive around Florida, you'll notice probably 5 times as many plumbing companies advertised on the side of trucks as you will painting companies, even though there's twice as many painting companies. And that's because most of them are subcontractors. So they have to be out there registered and licensed. They're just relying on jobs from other people. So I figured, might as well just unify them all, put them under one umbrella. They're obviously doing good work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out there.
Yeah. That's really fascinating. Like the Uber concept for contractors. So, because you paint yourself, I imagine, right? That's why you got into it.
I have. Yeah, that's kind of how I started.
But doesn't sound like that's where you want to end.
No, eventually, this is something that can be scaled across all verticals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, okay, well, when are you going to start doing it for the plumbers? When are you going to start doing it for the roofers?
So, as soon as I perfect the methodology, I guess, for the painting, which is probably the most easiest of all, then we can start bringing in on other verticals. And it requires investors and talent and more developers and more machine learning and a whole bunch of other.
So it gives, all right, because getting a ride from Main Street to ABC Street is not necessarily that. The price is pretty straightforward. Okay, here, $15. All right, go do it. If it's $18, you pay it. Whatever. It's not too big a deal. But if we're talking $1,500 versus $1,800, then the price is a little bit different. So are contractors okay? How do they know? How do they win jobs? Do they just get, because with Uber, and I may be wrong, pretty sure it pings a number of people in the area and someone has to accept that job and say, yep, I want to go do that. Would that be the same thing with Prime?
It's almost essentially the same idea. So what happens is the job will come available and a subcontractor will claim it. And what we're working on developing as well is an internal rating system for feedback from customers. So whoever does the better job will have priority access to
Yeah.
getting the jobs.
So then how does Prime Logic, you'll have people sign up for this and they'll pay a monthly fee, or they'll pay per job they get, or it's a percentage of the job?
No, they don't pay anything.
Well, how do you get money?
Well, so we figure out the cost of the project.
Mm-hmm.
We figure out what we're going to pay the subcontractor. And we just take out a little bit from the middle.
Okay, so instead of a percentage, it's just it's a flat rate or what have you.
A flat percentage. And also too, so instead of charging, 50%, which a lot of companies do because they have overhead trucks, we can charge way less than that. So it actually drops our price. And then what we can also do is, being that we can drop our price so much, we can actually pay subcontractors more than a lot of these other traditional companies are paying subcontractors.
Can you explain that some more? How? Because like you still have to have trucks, you still have to have overhead to have a crew, and
so I do for my traditional painting company, but I don't have to for Prime Logic because Prime Logic essentially acts as just the platform.
Yes, but the price is the price. A painter is charging $800 to go and do a little job, right? Because he can't charge $600 because then he's not making money.
Sure, but we can charge $600.
Yeah, but they
and we're averaging 23% less than other contractors, and we can charge less because all those guys out there, they're paying advertising agencies. They're paying for all these extra things that they won't need to pay for if they come to us.
Yeah. So
if they end up making, say, $400 off the job, they're still going to make $400 off the job.
Yeah.
Because they're not paying that extra overhead as far as marketing and time. Like they're saving money via time and marketing.
So yeah, I know it's true. Yeah, you're saving time in marketing.
And tons of time because they don't have to even think about strategy. They just come to our website, and as long as they do a good job and keep getting good ratings from customer feedback, they'll always be privy to jobs.
So, but here's the question though, because I would not imagine contractors would be okay with another contractor quoting for their work. So how do you get around that?
Do you want the work without the advertising? Do you want the work without having to you want to just actually go and do the actual work instead of spending hours upon hours at night chasing leads when you're supposed to be home for dinner, you're out doing estimates.
Well, and I understand
so there's a little bit of a give and a take with that. And if you don't, you don't have to be a part of the platform.
Yeah, no, for sure. But beyond that, a matter of, hey, are we actually going to make money with this? How do they know? Because how do they know the job is accurately bid? Not necessarily are we making enough? Am I making as much money as I would otherwise? Is it accurate? So how do you get them? How do you get them to understand that? Or maybe that's a dumb question for me to ask because I'm not in the industry. Maybe any painter would see, oh yeah, that's the price for that. Yeah, that makes sense. It's
essentially so there's multiple ways for people to look at jobs. They can drive by and kind of look at the house, or they could also go on Google Earth and be like, yeah, that sounds about right, or that looks about right. And then, of course, if there's any discrepancies or issues, or if somebody says that their house is X amount of square feet, but it's really twice as much, well, then I'm sure the contractor will let us know immediately there's an issue with what they're being paid. Other than that, we have it set up that they're going to be essentially paid the highest in the industry.
You'd have to, the contractor would need to verify the information when they get there. And they'd probably have to do that through the app, confirming this or the platform, confirming this is accurate. It actually is 1,500 square feet. It's not, it's 2,000 or something.
Yeah. Yep. And the easy way to do it is, so when you go to the website, it'll ask you to put in your address. And I've tried several API keys to get property data, but where I live here in Southwest Florida, that I don't know, there's a challenge with most of those API keys. So I had to find a workaround until we can approach that subject another way. So what I do is I ask them if they know their square footage. If they don't, then they'll be redirected to a site like Zillow, and they click on the link and they put in their address, and they'll tell them their square feet, and they just come back to the page and enter their square footage there.
Wow. And then you base it on that.
Yep.
So when do you want to? Well, all right. So you're testing it right now in the small community of 668 neighbors. And when do you decide, okay, let's start getting people signed up for this? Or how would that process look like?
So that'll hopefully start Q1 of next year. So hopefully we're looking at January.
How
And
long? Sorry, go ahead.
no,
you're
after
fine.
you.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this?
Well, it's been in development for over a year now, and I've been testing roughly since about October. So beginning of October.
Wow. Okay, so you are deep into testing then.
There's not really much other than getting back and forth with the developers to make sure
Yeah.
things get tightened up. Other than that, it should be relatively quickly to get this thing off the ground.
So then, how are you going to get? Once you're ready, how are you? You got to get your name out there. People have to know this exists. Contractors have to know it exists, and customers have to know it exists. And kind of like a chicken and the egg sort of thing, where the contractors aren't going to want to sign up if there's no one there to do jobs, but the customers aren't going to go there unless they know there's contractors. So how do you solve that?
So that's a good question, but the contractors will be there because they're not beholden only to working just for us.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that they can do work on their own, or they can go work for whatever contractors or other companies they're currently working with.
It costs them nothing too, so it's a pretty easy sell, I would think. Like, hey, just give me your email.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Phone number.
Upload your insurance information and go from there.
And that's pretty good because Angie's List, Thumbtack, these other companies, they're just getting you in touch with the customer, the contractor, and the contractor is just paying for that lead.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
And they're just saying, yep. And they're just saying, hey, Quinton, Andrew, Bob, and Jennifer, Joan wants her house painted. Here's her address. Thanks for the $250 each of you. Go have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck, guys. So what we're doing is saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we're going to give you a lower price. And we're actually averaging 23.5% cheaper than any other company at the moment in my community so far. So it's a lot more straightforward. It's a lot more simple for the contractor. It's simple for the homeowner, and it's just the way of the future for business.
So the customer would have to, the contractor, because they're paying for that lead, even though they're not paying actual money, they are paying for it because, well, no, you say they're making the same amount of money. They would have to be.
So that's why, in the end, they're essentially making more money because they're making more money and saving time, and they can be home with their family at night instead of going, oh, I have to put down my brush, clean off my hands real quick, and call this ad because I have to call this customer because I have to call them within 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, because I got this lead that came through.
And if I don't call, Jennifer's going to call. Quentin's going to call, and Bob's going to call, and Andrew's going to call. Yeah, I need to call first. This way, I set up the first appointment.
That's pretty. No, that's really something. Now that makes sense. Now I'm seeing that where.
Yeah, it's like once you get the entire picture and fully understand that it's really automated end to end seamlessly, then it all kind of like clicks. Like, wait a minute, we should have been doing this for years.
Yeah, exactly.
But all these home services industries have been operating the same way since the 70s. Other than the advent of CRMs, which I believe that is also going to take a shift too, because I believe that CRMs are going to be a thing of the past because you're not going to need salespeople. In the day of AI, everything should be transparent and in front of you. Right? So you're not going to need salespeople anymore. You're not going to need CRMs the way that they're known, the way Salesforce started them. What they're going to be is customer-facing CRMs. So you come in, and I guess maybe that's a form of what I'm trying to build here is an interactive CRM for homeowners.
What do you mean customer-facing CRM?
So you know how a traditional CRM works. Like I get Quentin's information, his address, his phone number, his birthday, his dog's name, put everything in there. This way I can, I guess, stroke your ego when I come to the sales table and put all the information and align it with the programs that we have in whatever company and capacity that you're working in. With Prime Logic, everything will be facing you. You'll see everything. So instead of me, the salesman, having all of your information, you, the consumer, will have all of our information. You'll have the contractors, you'll have the paint, you'll have everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So all the control is in your hands rather than in anybody else's hands.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be.
Yeah. You know, it's very nascent. You're right at the beginning of this, right? This is brand new. Like you said, world's first AI contractor painting program, right? But I need to think about this more because I can see where this could go. I can see I understand enough of what you're doing, and I know there's so much more different verticals you can get into the different MEPs, right? But then also what you're talking about with the CRM and how that will change, and really just selling in general, how that's going to change is changing. Transparency and price. People can compare things more. They know, oh, you're charging $1,500. Well, this other guy is charging $1,200, and I know you're doing the same thing. It's really easy when you're buying, say, headphones, for example, because it's all right. It's black headphones. All right. Well, I know these black headphones are this much money, and then from this other website, they're more money. So I'm going to go with this website. So it gets a little bit more ambiguous when you're like, I'm painting a house, or I'm changing out. I'm doing a bathroom.
Is it really though?
Well, that's exactly.
Right?
Is it really?
I mean, is it really? I mean, but we have that perception like, don't touch electricity. You're going to shock and kill yourself. You can't change an outlet. And I'm not advocating nobody should be going to touch their outlet. But you go to the control panel and you shut it off. There's all the mystery is gone. There's no electricity in your house when you should in that breaker. Also, and just to bring it back to painting, to keep it more painting centric, you're going to use, most people use Sherwin-Williams, and that's the company we've partnered with. So there's only certain levels of tier. There's only a certain amount of substrates, and it doesn't really matter what your home is made of because it's going to be painted the way it needs to be painted. And the guys that are going to paint it, I mean, I guess it's almost like, are you going to get an Uber X, or are you just going to get the regular Uber driver? So I mean, if you want to paint for something premium, and maybe down the road there might be some sort of flex that shows up that we could be like, oh, you want this special add-on, or that'll make you feel more exclusive than everybody else, possibly. I don't see that at the moment because I'm just kind of thinking of your average everyday residential customer that just wants their home painted.
Man.
Right? Think about it, like painters. Somebody comes in, they might have a different brush, but that brush is going to do the same thing. And as long as at the end, when you're all finished, the project looks the way you want it to, it's really not that different. I guess the same could even be said for plumbing. There's only so many fittings and valves and things that you can use. Yeah. If your house needs a new AC unit, there's only certain sizes. You're not going to get an oversized unit for your house. You're not going to get an undersized unit.
That's true.
I mean, I could be speaking completely
I understand.
Out of ignorance, but I believe essentially it's the same.
Yeah. No, for the most part, it's like I've noticed people like to make the experts, I shouldn't say people, experts or self-proclaimed or otherwise, to make things really complicated because they're the expert. And so you have to be really smart to understand it. But no, it's simple. There might be some complication in certain areas, but by and large, it's simple. Like you said, look, you need this size AC. It's only this many fittings for this if you want to replace the sink. It's simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it.
Yeah. If your copper pipes in your home are 1 inch, they're 1 inch. Somebody can't come in and be like, all right, we're going to put 3/8 on this. It just won't work.
Yeah.
And none of that, the skill doesn't lie in the salesperson. The skill and the ability to do the job lies in the person that comes to your home to do the work. Just like the Uber driver. You trust that he's got a license when he pulls up, right? And you trust that his car is not going to break down halfway through the road, which, I mean, of course, it will happen. It does happen. But 99.99 times out of 100, it doesn't.
That's really fascinating. I'm curious to see how this develops, and I'm really curious to see how you can make it work for other industries, because painting is it's this most simple one. You're for sure. You're right with that. But it probably has the thinnest margins because it's lower barrier to entry. And these other industries like AC and plumbing, these companies, I know some of the local companies here where I'm at in Cocoa, Florida, I know what some of them are making. I know some people that work for them and what have you, and what they charge and the commissions they pay for their salespeople. And there is a ton of margin there, and there's a ton of work that they're doing. It's just seems crazy to me. It is ripe for disruption, I would say. For
sure. This. And I think now is the time to be doing it, because if first of all, if it doesn't happen now, we're all in trouble, because from what I understand, the AGI keeps getting closer and closer to artificial general intelligence keeps getting closer every time I look online. And if we don't get most of this stuff sorted out before, maybe not AGI, but it's certainly before ASI, which who knows how quickly that'll come after we have AGI, then we're to be in a whole world of hurt anyway. So
yeah, that's certainly a topic of discussion. Like, are we going to get to that level of intelligence? And I don't really know. I'm certainly not one to, I guess, to debate it, because I'm not as well informed.
I'm not either. It's just what I hear, what I try to just keep up a little bit on, because I mean, this is how it's going, but we have to change the way we're doing things now, because, and also too, a lot of people are going to be out of work. I think this is well, maybe not, yeah, out of work in a way, because artificial intelligence might replace them in their capacity if they're not able to adapt and find a useful reason for themselves. So I also think it'll be great. And also we're going to need more people back in the trades. So I think this would be another way to kind of get people back in the trades too, especially with painting, because, you just need a pretty steady hand and some know-how.
That's true. And you could have jobs lined up. That would be awesome. Well, look, I think this is a good spot to land. I'd love to have you on in the future, maybe quarter 2 or what have you, after you've launched, to see how things are going. Because I'm very curious to see the response you're going to get from contractors, especially if you're in the business. You'll know people you can go to and say, hey, man, check this out. This is what I did. Are you interested in it? And then getting it out there, you'll have to have some advertising budget to get customers that know this exists. But there's a lot you could do, and there's a lot you could do organically on socials. I bet there's a lot you could do with
that. I mean, just think about it. If you paid 23% less, and you're talking about a $7,000 job, wouldn't you like to put 23% of that back in your pocket? Because now we're not talking about $23; we're talking about a couple $1,000.
Because on Marketplace, that's where I'll go to find a contractor. If I want to find someone, I'll typically go to Facebook Marketplace instead of Google, because it seems more organic. I'm going to find people that are actually out there doing the work. So like, and it's, you can easily post some things on Marketplace and say, hey, you're going to get the best price here. Yeah.
Yeah. Paint for $1.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then also too, once people realize, and you said you're in Cocoa Beach, so you have a lot of snowbirds, just like we have over here. Once people start seeing this, it's naturally take off. It's not something I want to rely on. Is it naturally taking off? I know I'm going to have to kick it in the pants first, but so I'm excited to get this thing up and running, because I think actually, I know it's a real game changer.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Well, that's fantastic, Andrew. I'll send an invite to you. I'd love to have you in 6 months or so, just to hear how things are going. But I wish you the best of luck. You have a great understanding of it, I can tell. And I believe in the concept. That makes sense. I'm kind of asking myself, why didn't I think about that? Like, it exists in Uber. Why did I not just apply it to another industry? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Great concept, man.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, man, there has to be an easier way, like, than doing all this hustling. And there's not really that much of a difference. I mean, Sherwin-Williams charges people different prices in paint, right? So if you go in there as a regular person, you're going to pay $100 for a gallon of emerald paint, where if a contractor walks in, he might only be paying $50 for that gallon of paint.
Yeah.
Another contractor might walk in and be paying $60 for that paint.
Yeah.
Another $40. So other than that, there's not really any mystery to any of this, the price. And if you could be the most transparent, the most honest, you don't particularly care who's going to show up in paint. I mean, as long as provided they're, respectful, polite, and if they want to stay on the platform, they're going to do that.
That's so good. That's really good. Well, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate your time today, man. I wish you all the best with this. Thank you.
Thanks, Quinton. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.